Hi, everyone. With quick apologies, this is actually a much delayed response from a question I got during Pride Month for 2024, which was what kind of resources are available for people who are interested in the question of LGBT issues and how it relates to the church. I'm going to go pretty quick because everything I would talk about is a good jumping off point. So, well, this is just a quick survey. I'm basing this largely off the list at keysministry.com, which is one of the oldest, and it's distinctly, not distinctly, but was created by a Lutheran pastor, and it is now run by a Lutheran woman, and I highly recommend it. If you need questions or thoughts, or if you want to refer someone who's seeking help in reconciling same-sex attractions, minor attractions, or transgender issues with Christianity, this is a Bible-based, a Bible-believing, gospel-based program, and a great place to go for questions and resources. So I'm going to go all the way down to their resources area, and this is where I'm drawing most of this, not all of it. So first, we're going to look at resources that you can get a hold of. Is a paperback coming out of Homosexuality, New Freedom for Men and Women. Authors are Bob Davies and Lori Rensel. The second one is The Altar of Sexual Idolatry by Steve Gallagher. Third, Can You Be Gay and Christian? Responding with Love and Truth to Questions About Homosexuality by Dr. Michael Brown. Now, I'm going to say I'm not generally a fan of Dr. Michael Brown when it comes to the charismatic movement. So he and I have some differences, but this is got a reputation as a pretty solid book. So I don't have to agree with him about everything to say that this resource is worth taking a look. The Gay Gospel. This is a reprint of an older book that I was first familiar under a different title. By How Pro-Gay Activists Advocates Misread the Bible by Joe Dallas. Now, I really recommend this one. Joe Dallas is himself a former practicing homosexual, and he was actually, if I'm remembering his biography correctly, he actually was a pro-gay pastor in a pro-gay church before he repented and began to reconcile his uh, faith and in the Bible with his desires. So this is a reprint, but I highly recommend it. It got reprinted for a reason. Here's my most scandalous recommendation. This is a book called God's Grace and the Homosexual Next Door, Reaching the Hearts of Gay Men and Women, the Gay Men and Women in Your World. Now, the author, Alan Chambers, was for a long time the head of an umbrella coalition of ex-gay ministries across the country, which was called Exodus International. Alan Chambers has since abandoned the biblical view of homosexual issues. He's fallen away. But he wrote this book while he was still doing very good and relevant ministry. I highly recommend this book. He's made it unavailable, so you're going to have to try to find it used. Like I actually have a copy of it when it was available on Amazon, so I still have the Kindle copy. But he himself has removed it as part of his falling away from faithfulness to the Bible. So that's fair warning. But I want to let you know we do use materials from people who wander away, and people who fall away. We still read the books of the Bible written by Solomon, who was led away by heterosexual sin with all of his pagan and idolatrous concubines and wives. So, but that doesn't stop us from reading Proverbs and from reading Ecclesiastes and from taking, for honoring the wisdom that God gave him. So Alan Chambers wrote this in a season of faithfulness, and even though he's fallen away, I still highly recommend this book. I think it's one of the more compassionate things that I've encountered. Excuse me. Okay, moving on. What Does the Bible Teach About Homosexuality by Kevin DeYoung, paperback, April 2015. And then if you want to get a little more into the nuts and bolts, you can check out Mark Yarhouse's Understanding Gender Dysphoria, Navigating Gender Issues in a Changing Culture. And that's going to take it from more of a psychological point of view. Online, one resource you aren't going to be able to find, like for YouTube, you can take any of these authors. Maybe not Alan Chambers, because you're going to find his public, I'm very sorry that I took the Bible seriously. Please forgive me. And of course, as long as he's willing to attack Christianity, then he's going to be popular. But except for Alan Chambers, you can take any of these authors and you can find speeches on these topics on YouTube. There's one more resource I want to make available real quick when I'm doing a summary. And this is one that I actually got a hold of. So this one comes from me. And you can see the nice censorship label, because what I say isn't politically correct. And what I did is I got permission from Keys Ministry to take one of their lectures that they gave to a gathering of pastors at Windham, Minnesota in 2018. And a little later on that year, I was able to get a hold of the transcript and reread the transcript by Karen Hart, the director of Keys Ministry. It's got oh wow, the YouTube algorithm has put together some key moments. That's interesting. I didn't do that. I don't have time, so they added that. But this is a really good reference, I think, for how the church should approach these issues. So that's, I think, a really good bunch of starting off points. Another place that you should look would be the work of the work of Dr. Joseph Nicolosi. So he has since passed away, but he was probably the founder of the modern psychological reparative therapy ex-gay movement. So you can find his work. You can find his work on YouTube, to be sure, and get kind of a quick overview. You can also get a hold of the activists have removed a lot of his books from common circulation. So you can actually go to josephnicolosi.com. Let's see if my web processor. There's a thunderstorm in the area, and that seems to slow down the local internet. So this is a reparative therapy, the reparative therapy issue. It's got lots of resources. Books available here. Resources. Two of these I would recommend in particular from josephnicolosi.com. Again, if my internet decides that it's going to play nice. So, okay, 3. The big one is called Shame and Attachment Loss: The Practical Work of Reparative Therapy. If you're in actual like clinical psychology, you're actually wanting to do that. That's the title of the now banned book that I would recommend. A Parent's Guide to Preventing Homosexuality. Very useful, very compassionate, very practical. And probably one of the books that completely changed probably one of the books that completely changed my worldview on several issues approaching it is it used to be under a different name. It's now called Healing Homosexuality: Case Stories of Reparative Therapy. And what this is about about a half dozen. Okay. It's a half dozen case studies and examples. And I would really recommend this because you're hearing the interaction between an ex-gay therapist and his clients. you're hearing motivations and applications, and it's really a very different world than the culture war. And I don't think I can recommend this book strongly enough. But it's going to be a little hard to get a hold of because it is unpopular, and the politically correct, the Rainbow Mafia, is really eager to have it banned. Okay, so that's kind of my overview of where I would recommend people start for gathering resources on the questions of faithful Christianity and responsible psychology, and compassionate approaches for how to share the gospel and just hope and healing and comfort to people who are dealing with issues of homosexuality, same-sex attraction, minor attraction, transsexual issues. Thanks for your time. I hope that was useful. God bless.